Welcome back, one and all, to another day here at the Damage Report, a Tuesday, but not just any Tuesday, a very special Tuesday, a Senator Nina Turner Tuesday. How's it going, Nina?
Turner Tuesday, baby.
We're gonna turn around the news on Tuesday. Monday started off bad. We wanna cruise into the rest of the week. So we got Nina Turner. Nina, we know that you're traveling. We wanna thank you for being able to do the show regardless of your travel, though.
Yes, my pleasure. We made this work up in here, so I want to thank the team.
Awesome. It's gonna work. It's gonna more than just work. It's gonna be awesome. I also wanted to start off by letting people know that you have a show, Power Hour, on the TYT network, which everyone should be watching on Thursdays. But also, in addition to being live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, apparently a portion of Power Hour available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes will be available Mondays, because of course your show is sort of a special thing that we do for the members. But if you want a taste of it, it's available wherever you can get your podcasts. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Please become a member and join us on the Power Hour. Jink and I, we doing the thing. We have our heroes, our villains, John, heroes and villains.
Oh.
We have the story of the week, a hero, a villain, and then a what would Nina do segment. Now come on.
Oh, nice. Okay. I'm gonna have to listen on Mondays. Okay,
yes,
let's see this. In addition to that, we also have about 90 minutes of important news for you. So thank you for being here as we roll through cops behaving badly, TV hosts behaving badly. Everyone's pretty much behaving badly. But we're gonna give you updates on how vaccination is going, how the US water supply is going. We just thought we'd talk a little bit about infrastructure, because like maybe something could be done about it. We might have a debate, a video of a male Karen, or is he getting involved? And it doesn't go the way that he planned. Who's in the right, who's in the wrong? We're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna have a little poll for you a bit later on. Also, Superman's bisexual, and it has exploded some right-wingers' heads in exactly the same way it would if Superman had hit them in the head with his heat vision. So anyway, that's gonna be fun too. We'll have that going on a little bit later on. In advance of that, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, sharing the stream, that'd be great. If you want to send us comments, tweets, super chats, anything like that, we'll respond as we go. But with all that said, Nina, you want to jump into some news?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's jump right into this. There's gonna be, well, the language is bleeped out. Still, it's cop video, so just consider yourself warned.
I drove down the street. There was an unmarked state police cruiser. They were all fucking around. So I overcommit. So I got the Tremont Park, and I was in the middle of. So then I have to keep coming. I'm hitting people with the car. Did you hear me? I was like.
Now that video that you saw, most of it having to be bleeped out because it's a cop and it's a cop in Boston, so most of the language is swears at that point, was a cop, Sergeant Griftin McHale. Now this was originally reported by Owen Higgins back in December of 2020, but what Griftin McHale was admitting to, enthusiastically bragging about on that body cam footage, was while a George Floyd protest was going on, him hitting protesters with his car. And he seems very excited about it, Nina Turner. Now, that was the first video. In a minute, we're gonna have the second. After he is alerted to the fact that he's on video, things are gonna change a little bit. But I wanna get your reaction to this first video. He was super hyped about what he'd been doing.
Yeah, he was, and just maybe oblivious to the fact that the camera was there, or he knew that nothing was going to really happen to him. This is an example of the cultural nature of that particular police department. He talked about it just so freely. And you can kill somebody with a car, trying to run over a law enforcement officer. You will be charged probably with a felony for doing something like that, because you can kill people with a car. But reckless abandon, he just really didn't care, because he didn't see those protesters and the cause for which they were protesting, John, as worthy. And so those people were expendable to him, so much so he's bragging with his buddies on the police force. And I don't know, I didn't hear anybody say, man, what you did was wrong. But maybe I missed that.
Yeah, I missed it too. Maybe it was bleeped out. Maybe they swore, at him in that way. And you're right. I mean, we've seen video of if the cops have someone in their car, they've got their guns out, and they think think that person's gonna hit a cop, they start shooting.
That's right.
But the cop can just have fun with it. And we saw those videos all last year. Cops surrounded by people gunning their engine through barricades and things like that. It was a great fun time, and tons of cops didn't lose their job over it. However, he is eventually told that the camera is on, and so we're gonna pick up and see, maybe he'll modulate his message a little bit.
This thing is on. This thing is.
Oh no! I know. What I'm saying is, though, they were in front, like just like didn't hit anybody, and, like just driving. My windows were closed. It was coming in. When it was past you, I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Fucking crazy, dude.
Just push this crowd back. We can't go any further.
This thing just on automatically.
Huh?
This thing just automatically.
My God, what an idiot. So, I didn't hit anyone. What had happened was I was near a person, and then he looks away and he has the face. He could not be more angry that he had been taped. His cover for it, Nina, was just terrible. But man, the wind sure came out of his sails once he knew he was being filmed. Not bragging so much anymore.
Yeah, no, not at all. You can see sheer horror in his face. We could just picture what is going on in his head. I won't say it right now, but it's probably OSHIT was going on in his mind right now. I just got caught with my hands in the cookie jar. No, I didn't hit anyone. They just kind of bumped into my vehicle. That's what happened. But yeah, he is really messed up. And then you hear another officer say, these cameras, they just come on. They just come on. No stuff. They're supposed to come on because they are an unbiased witness, either pro police officer or pro the person that's interacting with the police officer. But the camera is an unbiased witness. And what that unbiased witness caught, John, was the real nature of how that law enforcement officer felt the first time before he knew that the camera was rolling.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. Just, man, these things just come on. They could not hate accountability more. It is so clear.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was super proud of all of what I was doing and saying, I wouldn't be so angry about the cameras. It's only when you're doing something wrong. And now that's it, America. Like John Oliver says, we got him. He's on camera. He's bragging about it. He's admitting what he's doing. That guy is screwed, except I'm also finding out it happened in America. So he had an unpaid suspension of 8 days. 8 days. He was bragging about running down protesters, just indiscriminately running them down. He's on tape. He's clearly trying to cover for it afterward. We have all of this. 8 days. 8 days. They choke people out on the streets for crimes 1,000 times less serious than bragging about trying to murder peaceful protesters. And he got an 8-day suspension.
Yeah, totally unacceptable, John. And that mayor and also that police chief in Boston, they should be ashamed of themselves. Had a civilian done what he did, they would be charged, and rightfully so. A car can be used as a weapon and people can die. It's making me think about Eric Gardner. We all remember him. He was choked out for selling loose cigarettes and killed by law enforcement officers for selling loose cigarettes. And this police officer gets to brag about hitting protesters with his car, and he gets suspended for 8 days. This is cultural. This is really what the Black Lives Matter movement is drawing attention to, is pointing out that there are different rules for law enforcement officers than there are for civilians. This is cultural. If I were the mayor and the police chief, I would be embarrassed by this. Now, this can be changed. There is something that can be done about this. And this is called, the department needs to take ownership of this and make an example of this law enforcement officer who was not protecting nor serving when he was hitting protesters with his car.
Yeah.
And he seems to have a disdain for them too, John. Did you pick up that tone?
Oh yeah, 100%. No, he doesn't. It's not. like there are some protesters they're fans of. Here in LA, they were like waving at the anti-vax protesters at the Capitol. Some of the cops are perfectly happy to see them. There's certain types of protests that are acceptable. Conservative, conspiratorial sorts of protests, those are acceptable. Racial justice, don't go near that. But the question I would have for you is like, you said that the department needs to make an example of them. The department's cops. Why are they gonna do that? Like all of them used to be cops. The culture produced the cops on the ground. Those cops eventually get promoted. They serve higher positions. Like that culture is ingrained. They don't make examples of cops. And why would we expect that they would make examples of cops? They're cops.
I mean, we should expect better. There are no consequences, especially in light of what happened to George Floyd. Especially, people said we were gonna get some get right. That law enforcement agencies across this country were gonna get some get right. And they have not, because there are countless stories time and time again. This is not an anomaly. This is just one of many, because they know that it will not be a consequence for their actions. So some adult needs to take charge. So either it's the police chief or it's the mayor, but this is a stain on the city of Boston. And the mayor that controls the police department should be ashamed and embarrassed and should demand that the police chief makes an example of this, John. It's ridiculous. So you can't reform this kind of stuff. You got to start all over.
I agree. Yeah, and like we shouldn't even need the tape. We have the tape of them. We have the tape of the cops running into people. It didn't accomplish anything. Cops knocking down an old man in Buffalo, cracking his skull open, and then just walking away. Didn't do anything because they were protesting about the wrong thing. And even this cop bragging about it, it's not about something that's gonna get powerful people worked up. Maybe if it was a cop bragging about shooting Ashley Babbitt or hitting someone with a MAGA flag, that would be like a national controversy. This, like Owen Higgins reported on it. We've got this update now. Is this like a big thing? CNN, MSNBC? Are they losing it hour after hour for a cop bragging about trying to murder racial justice protesters? No, because what they were protesting for, the status quo is perfectly fine with. They don't give a damn about it. It's just so frustrating. Like, we want to persuade people. We want to prove to them this matters. We have all the evidence, so much evidence, and it doesn't get through. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Well, we care, we're covering it, and thank God for Higgins, thank him for covering it. It also makes law enforcement less safe. Because people, it really does. You gotta protect and serve should absolutely mean something, but we see time and time again, it does not mean anything to far too many. I won't say the vast majority, but far too many. And you cannot reform a system like this. You must transform it. You got to do away with this kind of behavior, this kind of mentality. There must be a consequence, accountability, transparency, and consequence for this kind of behavior.
Yeah. By the way, we're not gonna go super in depth on this, but just want to let you know that previous issues with this guy, Clifton McHale, in 2005, there were allegations that he sexually assaulted a woman he encountered while doing a paid detail in uniform near a bar. The charges did not go forward because they said they didn't have enough evidence. He acknowledged violating rules on take-home police vehicles and failing to properly secure his weapon. I mean, how many times do they end up killing someone and we find out that they were disciplined for this and disciplined for that, but they don't take it seriously? All the warning signs are there, but they're not warning signs for things that the cops actually care to stop. So fun. Anyway, we're gonna take our first break of the hour. When we come back, vaccine mandates being attacked by Fox News. Fox News wants to reassure you that they are only talking about this for the most pure of reasons, not grifty at all. And Texas makes a big change to their rules on vaccines. We've got that coming for you, as well as a lot more after this. Okay, everybody, let's see what's going on out there in the audience. Siberio, welcome to Tier 1 YouTube membership. Thank you for being with us. Schwa Enigma has been a Tier 1 member for 6 months, gets access to all those emojis, including the new purple dragon. It says if Boston gets marked as one of the most dangerous places in the US because the cops can get away with crime, only then will they change. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if the cops necessarily care, we'll see. Nana Nikki has been a tier 3 member for 5 months. Damn, Nana. Says, my husband finally got his first yesterday. I guess he wanted to wait for a bit to see side effects. Shaking my head, better late than never though. Thank you, John, for all you do. Nina 2024. Thank you, Nana, I appreciate that. It must have been frustrating waiting for, I'm glad that he finally finished his research that he was doing. No, I don't know that he said that, but everybody's just, like you gotta like run the regressions and you gotta fill out the spreadsheet and like all that. So I'm glad that some people are finishing their research at long last. There was a great TikTok, by the way. I tried to find it again. It was this woman who I think works as a data scientist, and she was just dancing. And it was one of the things where she's dancing, and she's got the graphics about the difference between academics on research and regular people. It's so good. I wish I could find it. You seen that?
I have seen it. It's very good. We should try to find it for another, because obviously this conversation about trying to get people to get vaccinated is going to go on for a very long time. So that video probably will never go out of date, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think she got a few things wrong. So look, I was in a grad school. I worked with this a PhD, Tasha Philpott, who was a professor there. We did a lot of research, and very often I did do most of my research for her on 4chan and other websites. And you just read whatever people say, and that's research. No, it's not. No, it's not. Anyway, Vicky Gray with a big super chat saying, can we all stop being so mean with comments? That being said, happy Nina Tuesday. Love to y'all from Santa blah blah. Thank you, Vicky Gray. Nina Tuesday, I like it. Who's being mean with the comments? What's going on out there in the comments? We're gonna have to watch. We got some mods, we'll see what's going on. Anyway, Dragon Slayer Dragon says, I checked the network's work for months to see if I was originally attracted to my own validation. I watch because it's efficient. The work you and staff do is greater than the hours I would spend independently being gaslit and debunking. See, that's research. Dragon Slayer Dragon actually did the research, but thank you, I'm glad. We try not to gaslight you. Okay, Wizard of Frobaz says, if you could shame, then you wouldn't need to. I assume that's referring to cops, to shame them into doing their job. I just don't understand. Like, I know cops, they're like mad that they don't have the like automatic social respect that they used to. When white America loved everything about cops without any critical thought whatsoever. But like, you guys could get that back. It wouldn't be that tough. Stop killing people, stop beating people, stop pulling people out of their car by their dreads. I feel like 2 years of relatively good behavior, you could get that social behavior back. I don't think that's too much to ask.
No, I agree with you on that, John.
Yeah. Anyway, over on Twitch, Talon305 hit 17 months as a subscriber. Talon, damn. Einstein hit 12 months, thank you. Says 1 year of those Bezos bucks, much appreciated. Better they go to us than to him. Oh my God, I forget that Bezos tax story. I'm gonna have to bring that back for Wednesday. This tax credit he applied for, it will make your blood boil. Whew, anyway, so the next news, we'll be right back after this. Okay, before we jump back into the news, a big old block on vaccines, mandates, and all of that. I wanted to let you know that as always, after the show, you can stick around, although not on our YouTube channel, you have to go to theirs, for Indisputable with Rashad Ritchie, as well as Adrian Lawrence, who joins him on all the Tuesdays. They're gonna have a debate with Carrie Sheffield. Rashad, hopefully we're gonna see what happens with that best TV anchor for Atlanta Magazine. The voting has now finished, but fingers crossed that everyone helped get over the line. And that's coming up right after this. Also, by the way, on Tuesdays, you can dive deep dive with Jordan Ewell, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time at twitch.tv/TYT. Should be a lot of fun. That said, why don't we jump into things? We're gonna have Tucker Carlson getting defensive in this video.
This I always get a kick out of. Fox News. Fox News requires vaccinations for all employees. Give me a break, Fox News.
Now, to be clear, we just have a show on this channel. That's it. We don't run the company, and we would never presume to speak for the company. But as a factual matter, what Joe Biden just said is completely untrue. It is a lie, period. We can say that with authority since we work here. Every day, literally alone among big media outlets, Fox News defends this country's most basic civil liberties, what we used to refer to as the Bill of Rights. To cynical authoritarians like Joe Biden and the ghouls around him like Susan Rice, that just can't be genuine. They assume the people you see on Fox News must be pretending for money or prestige or ratings or something else. But they are wrong. We are not pretending at all. It's real.
You know, you've entered into a good spot when you have to deliver something like that. Like, I have a feeling I'm probably never gonna have to end one of my segments on climate change and be like, there's a lot of discussion going around about how I'm just pretending to care about climate change. I'm not pretending, it's real. Would you trust me? Would you trust me? But anyway, Tucker Carlson wants to reassure you that he genuinely, really wants you to be scared and suspicious of vaccines. That's why he's basically done an entire year of news about how you should be scared of this. Of course, he'll never say definitively one way or another whether he's vaccinated, but it's totally honest, Nina, his opposition to vaccines. It's not for money, it's not for ratings, it's not for audience. He's not reading the room or the base or anything like that. This is what he really believes.
Of course not. It's real and civil liberty. I mean, man, give me a break. I bet you he vaccinated, John. I bet you. I mean,
day one.
But I bet you he's vaccinated. And then what's real? I mean, Fox is, mandating that their employees get vaccinated. I mean, that's real too, Tucker Carlson. I just don't understand these folks. They know that we got to tame this disease. It's viruses are as old as humankind, older than humankind. We got to do something. And the fact that people like him and others get people all amped up over this in the wrong way really hurts us as a nation, and it hurts the world too. We're never going to tame this thing unless we get to herd immunity. And John, we are nowhere near herd immunity in the United States and especially around the world. I mean, I'm all amped up about the fact that there's so many industrialized nations hoarding the vaccine from other nations that need it as well. We really are all in this together on this, on the taming the vaccine, taming COVID, taming the COVID, the Rona, and also dealing with climate chaos. Those two things we got to tackle as a world community.
Yeah. Look, we're gonna talk in a minute about the why they're doing it, but he started off by saying it's a big lie, and look, he's not 100% wrong. Biden is oversimplifying the situation, but it's not as simple as Tucker Carlson would have you believe. Now, at Fox News, you don't have to get vaccinated, but if you're not vaccinated, you do have to get a COVID test every single day. That is more stringent than the vaccine mandate that Biden is talking about and that they've been doing nonstop coverage against. So if Biden is being like not nuanced enough about them, or let's say lying, they are 100% lying slightly more than Biden is about his mandate. And that's just that's the front door. The lies go way deeper than that. Tucker Carlson recently claimed that thousands of flights by Southwest Airlines have been canceled or delayed because of the Biden administration's vaccine mandate. Southwest employees are not federal employees. They're not covered by the vaccine mandate. It's just a simple lie. He lied just a couple days ago about a walkout from other airline workers. Not only did they not walk out about a vaccine mandate, there was no walkout. Their union president said that. He just lied about it. You had Sean Hannity saying that Joe has canceled all medical freedom with your broad mandate. You eliminated medical privacy. You eliminated all doctor-patient confidentiality. Well, that seems like an overstatement, and even if it's true, Fox again is more stringent, but he's not attacking Fox News on that. So again, if you're gonna try to claim that you're being honest, maybe actually practice it. Stop lying constantly night after night about this material.
Well, that's where their bread is buttered, so they're not gonna do that, John. That's a bridge too far.
Yeah. Well, and that is actually what this comes down to, because as we've previously reported, Matt Gertz at Media Matters for America has a source in Fox News, an insider that said the anti-COVID mandate segments and vaccine-resistant commentary are, quote, great for ratings. Another current Fox employee said the numbers clearly demonstrated that there are vanishingly fewer subjects these days that get our viewers more excited or engaged than those kinds of segments. That is 100% what it's about. when I say that Tucker Carlson is grifting over this, I don't mean that he's personally making money off of ivermectin. He doesn't get a commission for every person who dies of COVID, but he does want an audience and he wants them to tune in. We're out of the election cycle right now. We're as far from a federal election as you can get. Generally, people pay less attention to the news. Trump isn't driving tons of attention to the news on a daily basis. Views are down in print, online. Everybody is having to deal with that. And so what do? How do they fix that situation? Well, some people, mainly on the right, although I've seen some people formerly on the left that are doing this too, have gotten the idea that, well, right-wingers will watch stuff that's hesitant of vaccines. If you imply that maybe there's something to ivermectin, they'll watch that too. They'll watch hours of that every day. And so while they're like, for Tucker Carlson, he's not getting paid daily based on this. He wants an engaged viewership. And right now, when not a lot is happening politically because the Democrats are literally doing nothing in DC and we're not in an election, we're not actively at war, this is what they're doing to get people engaged. It couldn't be any clearer to me.
No, you're exactly right. And to prey on people this way, because that's exactly what they're doing, and triggering more folks to be suspect of, to not consult their doctors, to believe in a conspiracy theory is just wrong. And they probably don't care about this. They're gonna have to live with that. And I hope that the day of reckoning comes for them in their consciousness about what they are doing to tear asunder, because they're adding to every other conspiracy theory that is out there. This is very dangerous. It is wrong. And the fact that they are absolutely doing it for ratings just makes it even worse.
Yep. And Tucker's vaccinated. Tucker ain't taking medicine. He's not taking ivermectin. Like, he's not taking ivermectin. You can rest assured for that. It is all about getting a following. Some of them in the news. Alan West, he just got out of a 3-day stay in a hospital with COVID pneumonia. He comes out telling people don't get vaccinated. He says this is what we should do. Just treat it. Yeah, every American should just get it. Spend 3 days in the hospital. Everyone can afford that, not just rich people like Alan West. No, it's just about getting people to support them. That's all it is. Everyone wants a following. Some people are willing to do whatever it takes, kill whoever it takes to get it.
Clearly.
Now let's jump ahead to a different angle on this. In Texas, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, has announced a new ban on vaccine mandates. We have some text from this new order saying no entity in Texas can compel receipt of a COVID-19 vaccine by any individual, including an employee or a consumer who objects to such vaccination for any reason of personal conscience, based on a religious belief or for medical reasons, including prior recovery from COVID-19. I hereby suspend all relevant statutes to the extent necessary to enforce this prohibition. So I don't know how many people were under vaccine mandates to begin with in Texas, but right now it's not gonna happen. If you're a private business, maybe you're a private business owned by a conservative in Texas who believes in personal liberty, you get to decide what happens to your business. No, you do not. You do not get to decide that there's gonna be a vaccine mandate. It's just not gonna happen. They do say that they strongly encourage vaccination, but it must always be voluntary for Texas. Always voluntary. Vaccines voluntary, masks voluntary, social distance voluntary, stay home if you're sick voluntary. We're gonna show you a chart of how that's been working out for Texas in a little bit, but Nina Turner, what do you think?
I mean, we just really can't make this stuff up. Which is it? It cannot be both of these things. Now, the science is clear, even though this governor clearly doesn't care about the science, that masks help to slow the spread of the virus. It is also clear that social distancing helps to stop the spread of COVID-19. It is also scientifically proven that the vaccine, getting vaccinated, helps to save lives. All of those things, washing our hands on a regular basis, doing it for at least 20 seconds. Jesus Christ. You know what? Now, I'm gonna just give me a poster of Jesus and just hold it up every time I wanna say it, because these folks got me calling on the Lord more times than I usually do throughout the day. This absolutely makes no sense. And again, this governor is doing this for political reasons, playing to a certain personality of the base in that state. And they just lost. I gotta quote grandma. They have lost their ever-loving minds. And they don't care who they kill, who they disrupt. By extension, not saying that the governor is physically choking folks out, but by him being an authority figure and continue to propagate this nonsense, he is in effect indirectly contributing to people either getting sick or people dying in the great state of Texas. They say they do it bigger, deaths bigger, hospitalizations bigger.
That COVID case curve bigger, as we'll show. Yeah, and look, maybe no matter what, Greg Abbott would have done this. Maybe. But he's also going to be primaried by Alan West, who is a hard anti-vaccine radical. He's going to take a couple days off of campaigning since he was just in the hospital for COVID, but I think we should follow his strategy. So maybe Abbott's feeling the pressure. Maybe he's got to be at least as crazy as the next crazy person that's about to primary him. But anyway, let's jump ahead to how Texas has done. Here are 3 different peaks. We have the first big rise in COVID, hitting about 10,000 cases a day. By the way, I want to give credit to our graphics department because when I screenshotted that for my own personal document, I accidentally had my cursor over that day. That's why you see the 7-day average there. Our graphics person exactly matched my mistake. Thank you, Norma. But anyway, this is serious material. The next peak, over 20,000 cases on average a day. And we almost got there with this third one. I am actually shocked to find out that they didn't pass that second peak. And thankfully, cases are now going down. And that's great. And I hope, and I don't pray, I'm an atheist, but I'll do my secular equivalent of praying, that the chart we check in a year, it's just down. But if there's another peak, and remember, we're about to head into winter. That's where you got that second peak, the really bad one. It was Thanksgiving and Christmas, everybody gathering, everybody spreading COVID. You got yams, you got some cornbread, you got stuffing, you got COVID, you spread it around a table. Maybe that's what we'll see. And we don't necessarily have to. They could encourage vaccination more strongly. They could comply with these sorts of things, but they're choosing not to, and the results could be devastating.
Yeah, absolutely, and overwhelming the healthcare system too, or the sick care system, if you will. But how many doctors and nurses and other personnel that are part of the ecosystem of the healthcare system are making it very clear that they're overwhelmed. You got nurses, people retiring early, they are exhausted. You got healthcare personnel begging people to get vaccinated. And you know what? When hospitals are overwhelmed with COVID cases, other naturally occurring medical situations are impacted too. There is a domino effect to this madness.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, yes, we're gonna push through. We have time. I think we can get into this next one because I don't know if what I'm about to launch into is really like, is it gonna make you feel more optimistic? I don't know. Maybe it will. We're gonna try. I'm gonna try for a bit of optimism as we launch into this. So I'm reading online that Americans are deeply polarized around vaccination. I'm reading it from this tweet from ABC News. It says Americans remain deeply polarized over the renewed push to get the country vaccinated. But as many people did when they saw that, are they? Are we deeply polarized? I mean, certainly people agree, and we could define the word polarized differently. But like, when I look at the number of vaccinations, like we still have a long way to go. It's pathetic that we're not at 100%. We're America, we have so many vaccines, we're literally letting them expire in refrigerators and stuff. But when I look at these numbers, 18 and up, 78% of America has received at least one dose. 68% fully vaccinated. That's not high enough. It's not high enough for my own standards. It's certainly not high enough for the more important standard of what's going to provide herd immunity. But does that seem like we're deeply polaroid? Is this Coke versus Pepsi? Is this DC versus Marvel? Are people really that polarized? Because you could have written that tweet differently. You could say an ever shrinking group of radical anti-vaxxers remain opposed, but largely Americans agree that they should get vaccinated and support vaccine mandates, which we'll get to. So I don't know, Nina, you feel free to disagree with me. Maybe this is a petty thing, but I feel like this is providing intellectual cover to make a small group of hardened people seem like a bigger, more representative thing than it actually is.
No, I agree with you on this, and words matter, framing matters. And you're right, the numbers, the narrative paints a different picture, and it could have been framed that way. And yes, to get to herd immunity, those numbers are pretty good. To deal with this thing, we got to get above pretty good. To get to herd immunity, we need between 73 and 75% of the population across age groups, identities, to get vaccinated so that we can begin to tame this thing. But you're absolutely right. The numbers are showing that more and more Americans are actually willing to at least get one shot. So no, John, I agree with you.
Yeah, and I want to show how I think these numbers are really going to show it. So, New York Times reports almost all of the eligible adults who remain unvaccinated in the United States are hardcore refusers, and the arrival of boosters is making efforts to coax them, as well as those who are still hesitating, even more difficult. So 71% of those unvaccinated say the number for boosters, the need for boosters indicates that the vaccines are not working, and that's affecting them. That to me is again another thing where I get that the news tries to be understanding, and I get that the anti-vaccine community is not just one thing. It is not just people wearing red hats. Like there are different groups, and trying to hash that out and understand that, I get that. But again, the idea that the people, like the bulk of that, the hardcore, not gonna happen people, if you ask them, does the fact that you need a booster, does that make you less likely to get it? They're not gonna say no, even though they're not getting it. They're not gonna get it. Literally, it doesn't have any effect on them, but the numbers are high, so it seems like, well, maybe it's, oh God, maybe it's persuading people. Is it? Because the definitely not gonna get it is a number that held steady for months between 15 and 12% of all respondents. Now, because of Delta and some vaccine mandates, that number has gone down. It's just 7%. It was at 39% back in December of last year. 39% saying they were definitely not gonna get it. It is just 7%. I don't know if you can find another 7% position. And to say that is deeply polarizing, it's not the last season of Game of Thrones. Like, this is not some big debate necessarily. It is a small group of people who have been convinced by what they saw on Tucker Carlson and 4chan and maybe a little bit of Instagram. And YouTube says they banned it, but they haven't banned the vaccine misinformation. I don't know. I just think we need to be real about what these actual numbers are. We do, and to be careful. And since you threw out the Game of Thrones, John, winter definitely is coming. We'll see what really is about to jump off. But no, I think they're definitely making the wrong correlation there and giving too much oxygen to these anti-vaxxers. Definitely we should pay attention. You are right. There are some differences within why certain people don't want to. Some people have some legitimate medical concerns. Absolutely. Some people have some legitimate research concerns. I won't even put up my air quotes as much as I want to raise my hand and do that. But when we tease out all of that, it is very clear by the first graph that you put up in our segment that the majority of Americans are getting at least one of those shots. We got to try to convince. I think this needs to be done more on a communal level, John, and not so much the president getting out there, because all that does is stokes people's. He's an authoritarian, he's trying to tell us what to do, trying to take away our freedom. We need to deal with this more on a communal basis, to have big mamas and aunties and sisters and brothers and daddies and grandfathers, figures that are respected in the communities, really trying to get more community members to consider the vaccine, have their questions answered, and then hopefully they will get vaccinated. But a lot of people from on high, I don't think that's the way to convince most people to get the vaccine. For some people that, a celebrity or something, that might get them amped up for some. But I think for most people, hearing from somebody they trust would be a better way. And then it would also tamp down on that the president is trying to take away our freedoms. Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Having Big Mama say, I need you to do this is a lot different than having the president or some government figure telling you to do it.
Yeah, I think that you're probably right. And the more people you get vaccinated, the hard, like by its very nature, the people who remain unvaccinated are going to be the hardest to reach. Every time you take a percentage off of that, that was apparently the easiest percentage to get. So that is definitely true. But if we're going to do that persuasion, we need to understand what's actually leading to it. And it's not like we talked, I think it was yesterday on the show, just briefly, like you had Donald Trump showed up on Fox News and he said the reason people don't want the vaccine is they don't trust Joe Biden. And he said that in like one of the evening hours after maybe 12 hours of you shouldn't get the vaccine. They interviewed him, he said that, and then they went to Tucker Carlson for more reasons why you shouldn't get the vaccine. Like it's just insane that they're actively trying to get people to not take it. And then saying the ones who are trying to get you to take it are the reason nobody wants it is just absurd. Yeah, I don't have all the answers. I think that you're probably onto something. But I will also say, and this is to echo what you said earlier, the biggest issue here is that while everyone who gets vaccinated is demonstrably safer from death, from hospitalization, serious illness, the numbers that I showed you because I think that they're better than maybe I thought they were at this point, 78% of 18 and up. But that again is not high enough for herd immunity. And we're sort of gradually getting out of the Delta wave right now, but we don't know what's gonna happen next. There could be there are other variants. They haven't, yeah, they're not super widespread yet, but they could be. And we're about to enter into winter months where people are gonna be clustering indoors more. And so maybe we'll get lucky and this winter will be an absolute nothing, but I remember what the last one was like. And so I'm very worried and I really hope that we can keep up the pace of vaccinations. It's been pretty steady at like around 1 million a day, a little bit shy of 1 million a day for several weeks now. I just hope that we can keep that going for as long as possible. Any final thoughts?
No, agreed. I mean, I'm hoping too, but we can't just do this. Just can't be based on hope. People got to take some action, and everybody has a responsibility to help us tame a COVID in this nation. And again, John, I'm going to keep talking about the global crisis too, because we cannot be safe if we have sisters and brothers and family and friends in other countries who cannot get this vaccine. It is a sin and a shame that industrialized nations are allowing vaccines to expire. Yeah,
it's just insult to injury. Final thing I want to say is you're totally right. Hope isn't enough. We've on the network and here on TDR, we have spent, I think the audience can agree, a lot of time encouraging people to take COVID seriously, to get vaccinated. And I have come away from it with one takeaway. And it's that while my theory is that in a time when people aren't paying attention to the news, some people are turning to encouraging vaccine skepticism to get people to watch the news. Doing lots of segments encouraging people to get vaccinated, not a way to get tons of people to watch the news. That has not been a massive rating success for us, but we're gonna keep doing it. Anyway, with that, we are gonna go to
service announcement, John. That's
public service
announcement.
Yeah, right before we're taking off the air. Yes. So we're gonna go to our second break, everyone. When we come back, in the same way that Donald Trump had theories about why people didn't want to get vaccines, he has theories about why January 6th went as poorly as it did. And we have a little bit more besides. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this. Okay, buddy, let's see what's going on out there in the audience. Wizard of Frobaz, welcome to Tier 1 YouTube membership, as well as to I Heart Dogs. Love the name, I heart them as well. And Disaster, all Tier 1 members on YouTube. At Tier 1, you get access to the badge. It tracks how long you've been a member, and you get access to the emojis and all that. Over in the super chats, Marcus Otera says, I wouldn't want to be Tucker Carlson's or Fox's lawyers right now. Tucker saying he's real. Didn't he survive his slander cases on the opposite assertion? Someone is sweating. Yeah, Marcus Otera, that's a great reference and it's a great point, and it's one of those things that we know to be true that don't matter for whatever reason in the real world. I mean, Nina, I'm sure you're aware of Fox's defense of Tucker Carlson saying no one takes him literally. It's exaggeration for effect and all that. But that didn't he didn't lose audience share because their legal defense was, I just tell you what you want to hear, I lie to you. That didn't actually convince anyone, even though it feels like it should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the world according to Tucker Carlson is very disturbing that we actually spend so much time on Tucker, John.
I know. He has millions of viewers. It's very frustrating what gets popular in this country. And that is the thing. Like on the left, we get to sort of console ourselves with, we look at polls on like people's position on the issues, and we see that they support the progressive position on the vast majority of stuff, and that is totally true. But we have to admit, the right is more invested in, on a daily basis, right news. It ain't news. It's not about anything real, but people do stay invested in it, and they do it year round.
That is true, because they strike some emotional chord. I mean, that is what is happening. You can't touch people in their head. You got to touch them in their heart first, and then it goes to their head. And that is exactly what they do. They have perfected it, and Tucker Carlson is very good at it.
Yeah, he's very good at it, and he manages to keep people happy. They watch his show, and it never occurs to them, hey, I've got actual problems, and he's never talked about a single one of them, let alone put forward a solution. But I am really mad about people coming from El Salvador, so I guess I won't worry about it right now.
That's exactly right.
Anyway, Jeffrey Geltman says Larry Elder is already on Fox News and Newsmax in a commercial selling some junk product. They're all grifters. I don't even know what that is, but I'm not surprised to see it. Chase Essex says, please run for Congress again, Nina. Hi, Dragon Daddy. Popular opinion out there.
It is. Between that and the presidency, I got some choices to make, don't I?
Or both, honestly.
I need a stunt double, John.
Yeah, exactly. It's how last week JR and I promised the audience that we would run for president. Not like one is president, one is vice president. You're gonna get two for the price of one. We'll split the salary, we'll share the house. Anyway.
I love it. It's never been done before, I don't think. I love it.
No, and I love it too, because I don't want that high pressure of a job. I feel like I could do half the presidency. Anyway. Non-Human Humanist says vaccine situations similar when our moms used to say eat your veggies because African kids starve, but vaccines could actually be shipped to people who need it, unlike leftover veggies. That's a great point.
That is.
You eating your corn was never gonna get anyone else fed or not, but we could be shipping these. Biden could be doing that, or anything. Biden could be doing anything. Anyway. Okay, Zanadak, thank you for being a member on Twitch. 2 months hit right there. Kelly June hit 15. Hey, Kelly June, thank you for being with us. Sarah hit 13. Doc Brown hit 11. Thank you to all of you. We got some more news coming up after this. Okay, before we jump back into everything, I want to let you know about a few things that are going on, including this. Big get on the conversation, Michael Cohen, author of the #1 New York Times bestseller Disloyal and host of the podcast Mea Culpa, joins Cenk Uygur on the conversation. You can tune in today at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. So no one has seen this yet except for our producer Marissa, who helped produce it, and she said that it was a spicy conversation. She wasn't any more specific than that, but she said it was spicy. Cenk and Michael Cohen, who'd have thunk it? But anyway, it's happening. So you got that.
It's a must see.
That'll be a must see. By the way, we were mentioning the Power Hour podcast earlier, which you should definitely tune into. Basically every Apple Podcast, Stitcher, all that. Did you also know that the Damage Report is available to podcast? You probably do. It's been that for a while, but you definitely should listen to it if you're ever out on a drive or something. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I think we translate well to a purely audio environment, so feel free to take a look at that. And by the way, if you ever do listen as a podcast, and honestly, I wouldn't be that bothered if you didn't, as long as you go and rate it and review it on iTunes. That would be delightful. Do they even call it iTunes anymore? But you know what I mean. Give it a rating, give it a review. Apparently it matters for the algorithm. And that would be much appreciated. We used to read some of the recent reviews. Maybe we'll go back to doing that, encourage people to do that reading. In fact, if you go and review it, maybe I'll read it on tomorrow's show. Anyway, with that said, Nina Turner, you ready for some more news?
I am ready.
I'm gonna give it to you. And once actually, I just saw this comment. Kyle says, I mostly subscribe to the podcast to read the show names. We have a lot of fun coming up with the names for each episode. So you should definitely subscribe if just for that. Okay, with that, let's talk about some news. I think there are a lot of people across America that are still wondering on some level why January 6th got as bad as it did. When apparently, I mean, look, there was public conversation for at least a week, if not two, about people going there. And behind the scenes, we know that there was even more intelligence about how people were organizing, and it could get a little bit serious, and it certainly did. One man who admittedly knows a lot about January 6th has an idea of why it got that bad. Unfortunately, it's Donald Trump, but here is what he said in one of his official pronouncements. The highly partisan Unselect Committee is just a sideshow to distract America from massive failures by Biden and the Democrats. What happened to the Capitol would have never happened if the people in charge did their job and looked at the intelligence. They abandoned the officers on the ground, just like Biden abandoned Americans in Afghanistan. Instead of holding bad leaders accountable, the Democrats are going after innocent staffers and attacking the Constitution. Now look, the fact that he thinks it's everybody else's fault is not gonna surprise a lot of people. The only thing that kind of stood out to me that I thought was interesting about that is that he says, if the people in charge did their job, he was president when it happened. He was in charge, and we know that he did nothing. More importantly, we know why he did nothing. And that is what I hope people never forget. Why he was just sitting and watching as it all went down on the 6th. But I love the idea that he says the people in charge, as if he was just some guy sitting in his apartment in Nashville watching it on TV. He had a slightly more attached position. Nina, what are your thoughts?
I mean, he's never taken responsibility, so I'm not surprised. What you read from Mr. Trump is classic Mr. Trump. Deflect, deflect, deny, lie, deflect, deny, lie, deflect, deny, lie. I mean, that's his expertise, that's his gift.
In that order.
Yeah, did I get the order right? But that's what he does. And guess what? Some people believe that stuff he's saying. You know, look at the man in the mirror, baby. That's it. You are responsible for what happened. And certainly, if not all of it, you're responsible for not using your authority as the leader of this country, of the free world, to stand up to these folks and tell them to stand down. But what did he tell them? What did he tell them? Stand by? Well, no, that was another message.
Oh, that was for the Proud Boys.
That was to the Proud Boys. But classic Trump, just stand back and stand by. And that's what he did. He stood back and he stood back, he stood by, and he allowed all of that to continue. And even to this day, obviously, deflect, deny, lie.
That's true. I think technically it's person, woman, man, deflect, deny, lie, camera, TV. I think that's the actual order. That's a t-shirt there. And by the way, the stand back to the Proud Boys, there were plenty of Proud Boys at the January 6th. You're not wrong about that. But anyway, I want to give you a little bit more inside information. So this is coming out of ABC's John Carl. He's got a book coming out and he talks a little bit about what happened on the 6th. And the reason I want to keep this alive is there's been no accountability. We technically have a January 6th commission, right? We had months of debate about setting it up. They finally get it. And so far, we really don't know any more than we did about some of the lingering questions about the tours that people apparently gave of the Capitol. Was it Cori Bush that talked about the panic button in her room that had been disconnected? I don't recall, but we certainly haven't gotten any information about that. Who was called and when, who tried to get Trump to intervene. But anyway, the one thing that he did do is, you might recall that late in the afternoon, he released that video where he technically asked people to go home. He said that you're very special and I love you, you deserve a lot of love. But he did release that video. And here's what ABC's John Carl's sources revealed about that. So Trump boasted about the size of the crowd that gathered on January 6th, and he was enthralled as he watched his supporters, fueled by his election lies, as they rioted through the Capitol in an attempt to overthrow his defeat. The book says Trump argued with aides in the White House's private dining room as they tried to get him to call off the riot. When Trump finally agreed to release a video statement, Carl reports that the video had to be re-recorded, quote, several times before they got it right. And in earlier rejected versions, Trump neglected to call on his supporters to leave the Capitol, which might seem like a small change, but that was the only point of the video. Like it was, you're very special, I love you, and please leave. If you leave out the please leave, that's just egging rioters on. But he tried to have that be the video that they were going to release as the rioting was still happening, as our lawmakers were still fleeing for their lives. Cops were being beaten, some were being injured enough that they would eventually succumb to those wounds, they would die. And so again, like this is a source. We can't say 100% for sure that it's true, but according to what they're saying, he did not want to call them out of the Capitol on the 6th.
Yeah, no surprise there. And if it is true, that is equivalent to Trump, going to do that video, just winking. Please leave, wink, wink.
Yeah,
it's not surprised. The man is a megalomaniac, a narcissist. Pick the, the label, but it is really all about him. And it's his position in the universe, and that's really all he cares about. And those people were truly feeding his ego that day. And the consequence, as you just laid out, people dying, people getting hurt, but he didn't really care because it has always been, and it will always continue to be seemingly all about Donald J. Trump and the hell with everybody else. Obviously, January 6th was one painful example of that fact. And John, I want to say, look, if these investigations, to your point, they're not gonna go anywhere. Stop playing games and wasting taxpayers' dollars. We can use that money for something else. Now, on that, I'm fed up about. If it's gonna inform us to do something different, to do things better moving forward, to try to prevent something like that from ever happening again as best we can, then fine. But if we just wasting time, wasting the taxpayers' money, is this just an exercise just to say, check this off the box, then we need to do something else with the time and the money.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree, and regrettably, as with so many things, we don't have a direct control over it. But I can at least say what I want. I want to get answers, but I agree. I don't have a lot of faith that we're going to. They're not going to comply. Like his top aides aren't going to talk, and they can talk about how they're going to give him charges if they don't work with them. They're not going to give him charges, and so sometimes I just want it was very bad. It was very important. We don't have answers. And I wonder sometimes if I should just move on, just give it up. I mean, they're not, they've got their martyr coming out of that. They're building the groundwork to challenge every election we have for the rest of their lives. But anyway, I think about that from time to time. Okay, with that, we are done with our first hour, but stick around on Twitch and YouTube. We've got more coming for you. Welcome back to the show, everyone. I'm John Iadarola, joined by Nina Turner. By the way, Nina, let me tell you. So yesterday we had on the show, my co-host was a Twitch and YouTube personality named Abelina Sabrina, and when I previewed that you were going to be my co-host, her jaw actually dropped on camera. She was shocked. So very excited.
That is exciting.
We're very glad to have you here. And we're very glad to have some exciting news to talk about, although a little bit of it is devastating. And we're gonna have that in just a minute. But before we do that, I do wanna read a few more of your comments and super chats. Gabby says, hey Gabby says, both candidates for Boston mayor in November election are women of color, calling for cuts to the police budget and demilitarization. Citizens are pissed. I wonder how many, what percentage? That's interesting though. I didn't know that. Kleborp says, I believe Trump's response to 1-6 insurrectionists was, you're very special and we love you. Yeah, they're rioting and you're saying you're very special. You're very special. They get mad when we have participation trophies for kids playing soccer, but they need to tell the rioters they're very special on the way out.
Hey, that was a dog whistle, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
No, that was the wink. That was the wink nod.
Yep. You're very special. You've got good blood. Nana Nikki says, stand back and stand by was a direct order from the commander in chief. Yeah, well, they stood by.
They did.
Tahir Kathleen hit 7 months on Twitch. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Wolfie Meows Dragon hit 3 months. Says, thank you. Says, TYT since the Occupy movement, taking advantage of the Bezos bucks for 3 months. Love you, John. Love you, Nina. Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you. Kyle says, and this is reference to the first story we did, John, they did make an example of the cop. It's just not the example decent people want them to make. Yeah, it sent a signal to their people that you can take a week off. Yeah.
Good point.
T minus hit 9 months. Thank you for that. S Dub hit 2. Thank you. Kane Malice at 3. Shunka Bacon at 4. Love the name, Shunka Bacon. Vivi Greeley hit 11. Thank you. Says Senator Nina Turner and Dragon Daddy better chill before they broke the interwebs from containing too much awesome on one show. Thank you. I'm worried about that. We should get a check on the structural.
We should try it though. Let's try it.
Okay. You know what? We're gonna have a vigorous conversation here. We'll see if that accomplishes it. Yeah. So everyone, hold on to your butts. We're gonna have a little bit of close to violence in this video.
Hey man, I don't get why you guys are being so aggressive about this. I've asked you to stop using that. They're not allowed. You're making my life difficult. Everybody that lives on this block, we can't have our windows open. Just because this house wants some leaves removed doesn't mean that you guys get to break city ordinance. I don't care.
We don't care either, bro.
All right.
All right, so watch out who the bro. Thank you, one, bro. I'm gonna let you know right now. I don't give a bro.
All right,
bro. I'm not him, and I'm not the one in charge, bro.
Charge then. Dude, are you gonna get in my face? All right, I'll leave. I'll leave. I'll leave.
What's up, bro?
Hey, I'm gonna leave.
What's up, bro? What you trying to do?
I'm leaving, man. Right, I'm getting out of your face. I will.
Because I'm not the one, bro.
All right. All right,
bro.
All right.
I appreciate it.
All right.
We're working hard, bro.
All right.
You to come us, bro.
All right. I'm getting out. I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here, man. I'm getting out of here.
Oh, okay. Well, that escalated quickly. I'm getting out. I gotta go. I'll see you later, bro. I'll see you. So here's the thing. I came across that video on Twitter. I think Ben Dixon had spread it, and I guess I hadn't realized how controversial it might be. For me, it was a pretty strong reaction to someone needlessly getting involved in someone else's business, but not everyone apparently sees it that way. So I don't know, Nina Turner, what do you make of that video?
I mean, that was an episode of you wrote a check your behind could not cash. My grandmother say all the time. She used the other word, which I will not use on this family-friendly show.
Mm-hmm.
But for that guy, that male Karen, to act all innocent, like the guy said, he said, "Look, we just trying to work. We just trying to do our job. You making our lives miserable." So dude, for an hour, 30 minutes, I don't know, however long it takes for them to get the leaves down and shred the tree bark. You can't have your windows open. Really? That little minor inconvenience to you caused you to go over there, seeing those people working hard, doing that work, you won't mess with them. So look, the working man was not having it that day. He was stripping down on his way to whoop his behind. But yes, we need more episodes, John, of writing a check. Your behind and not cash.
That's a segment for you. Okay, so here's the thing. There's two different controversies here. One we're gonna poll you on in a second. The maybe more complicated one is I'm not gonna name names or whatever, but someone on our team said it's not fair to call this person a male Karen. Because maybe the circumstances just doesn't merit it. For me, I will make the case, and understand this isn't fair because that person can't make their case here. It's not just that he went up to workers and asked them not to do it. And it's not just that he did it very aggressively. He came up filming. Why was he filming when he just asked people to please not blow the leaves? Why was he already recording it at that point? I don't know. Do you think, is it overly stretching the term to refer to this person as a male Karen?
No, not necessarily, because the Karen Club is taking it to the next level, baby. They rolling tape from the beginning. I mean, there've been some, like the Roscoe Waffle House, the Roscoe, there have been restaurants, I think it was Roscoe's, where they had the camera rolling already, saying we're not wearing the mask. They walked into the restaurant. You can't make us. We want to get seat. They had the camera rolling already. So I think it is the level of arrogance. Now I'm gonna go over here and set these people straight. I'm telling them what to do because I can't have my windows open. Yeah, you disturbing my peace. I can't have my windows open, so I am going to confront you. What he did not expect is for the other man, the working man, to say, you know what? Not today. Not today, Karen.
Okay. Well, what's interesting in both this and the Roscoe's video that you talked about is that it's the Karen that posted the video. So the Roscoe's people thought they came out of that video looking good. This individual posted the video, and the only explanation I can come up with is he thinks that the other guy looks overly aggressive in taking off his shirt and getting in his face. And that is where we come to our poll, where we're actually gonna combine both of the controversies. Is this guy a Karen? And was the response from the individual acceptable? So if you go to tyt.com/polls at Karening Gone Wrong, is this an acceptable response to a Karen or a male Karen getting in your face? We give you 3 answers: yes, no, or not applicable. This guy isn't even a Karen. And so for the unnamed member of my team, if that wins out, then they beat me, I guess. But I'm curious because we've been diagnosing a lot of different responses to Karen behavior. This is the most aggressive I've seen that didn't contain actual violence. I wish we could have a finessing question on whether your shirt should remain on or not, but I don't know. I appreciate the theatrics of it. So we're gonna get answers for that and see.
Tired of it. The man trying to work, doing that hard work, and his brother gonna come up there talking that trash. He was over it. He wasn't even gonna let him get it off. He said, you know what, bro, not today. That's why he said, not today, I ain't the one. And I appreciate that right then and there. I'm letting you know. At least the other guy, Karen, Mr. Karen had enough sense to say, bro, I'm backing up. But you're right, he posted that because he thinks he's gonna get more sympathy. Had he kept his behind home and waited, like I said, whatever length of time it was gonna take for them to get their work done, he wouldn't have been in this situation. Let's think about that for a minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna write my own canon. And I like the idea that this guy, this is how he responds to literally everything. It's like, I'll have 2 Egg McMuffins. Sorry, breakfast closed. Takes the hat off.
Not today.
Not today. Anyway, so we'll see what happens with the poll. Okay, with that, unfortunately, we have to go from fun to the exact opposite of fun. Prepare for some serious news as we launch into this. Once again, residents in Michigan are being told not to drink the water. This is the city of Benton Harbor, and you will be shocked to find out that those being told that they cannot safely drink the water live in a majority black city in Michigan. They've been advised by the state not to use tap water for drinking, bathing, or cooking, quote, out of an abundance of caution owing to lead contamination. I'm gonna go one step further and say it's not an abundance of caution, it's lead in your water. You shouldn't be drinking it. You're not being finicky by not wanting the lead. You're trying to protect your own health and the health of your children. But anyway, to give you more details, under the advisory, bottled water will be made available at various distribution sites throughout the city. Health officials said free bottled water, quote, will be provided as long as needed while the EPA conducts a study on filter effectiveness. The EPA did not say when the study is expected to be completed, so God only knows how long people will have to be using bottled water for everything, including bathing. Now, bear in mind, back in 2018, this city, Benton Harbor, was found to have a lead contamination of 22 parts per billion in its tap water, far higher than the federal action level of 15 parts per billion and higher. That's higher than Flint at the height of its water crisis. And even that, no lead is good for you. We've just arbitrarily decided that you can have 15 and it's okay. But they're higher than Flint at the highest part of it. And so we have been years and years since then, Nina. And apparently, if we've learned any lessons, it's belated and just for Flint, and the rest of everyone else has been suffering this entire time.
Exactly. I mean, Flint was certainly the canary in the coal mine, but I believe it was Rutgers who they produced a study that showed very clearly there were 3,000 other areas in the United States of America that did in fact have higher lead levels than Flint. What are we going to do about it? Oh, hello, infrastructure bill, ding, 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 ding. You know, that 10, I mean, seriously, and the fact that we playing around with a little bit of money that is on the table right now is a shame. Clean air, clean water, clean food is a human right, not just in the United States of America, but all over the world. But human right. We're talking about the United States right now. And John, you know, some of the stuff that the team put together, 78% of children in Michigan have detectable lead in their blood.
Yeah.
Detectable lead, as you said, no amount of lead is okay, but somebody just figured, oh, okay, this will be the level. None of it is okay. This is the United States of America. People should not have to live like this, or this is not living at all. And it's not asking too much to have clean water. Hello, somebody on that.
It's 2021.
Yes, it's 21st century.
We're walking around with like smartphones and stuff. We're drinking lead.
Drinking lead. Look, again, instead of that January 6th commission that ain't going nowhere and nothing's gonna really happen, let's go and take that taxpayer dollars and invest it in, put some money in the pot for lead abatement and to make sure that the infrastructure, the water, the pipes that the water flows through are lead free. We really need it. We are so behind on our hard infrastructure. And obviously we don't give a damn about the soft infrastructure. Because if we did, this would be unacceptable in the United States of America.
Yeah, look, we're having as you pointed out, we're having we've decided 6 months of the Biden administration is just going to be about, and maybe we get infrastructure, maybe, and we're trying to find out if we're really going to get anything, because Joe Manchin and Carlson Cinema, I don't know, they've been told it's too expensive or whatever. Taxes might have to go up. They don't want that. It looks really bad for you. Joe Manchin, Carlson Cinema. Joe Manchin may not care, but Carlson Cinema theoretically could be primaried. So this actually provides you.
Not theoretically.
She should be 100%.
She should be. Folks need to go on and move into the state to primary her behind. Hell, I might go on and move up in there.
Oh,
she must be primary, and I mean, people got to go ham. Primary her behind.
Well, look, that's a threat. It's a scary threat. Carlson Cinema is probably shaking in her fancy, I'm gonna say purple boots. I don't know, something fun and quirky. But anyway, that's a scary threat. So you've made a mistake. You've gone too far. You've delayed this thing, but you do have one thing going for you. You have never once said why, what you're doing it for, and that provides you an out. Because now, Carlson Cinema, you can come and say, what I've been advocating for behind closed doors is $100 billion to change every lead pipe in America, and I won't give in until I get that money. You'd be a hero. Think about it, Carlson Cinema. How amazing would that be? You are the queen of de-leading America. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Let's see that happen. But I sort of doubt it's gonna go that way.
That's what she holding out for, John. That's you got it. That is.
I wish. No. Instead, we have this situation where we're gonna, in 10 years, Nina's gonna come on the show and we're gonna talk about some other city in Michigan, another generation of kids raised with their brains being affected by lead in the water. There's a Willie Mae Jones who says she's been drinking water in that city for her whole life. Said we didn't know we had lead in our water until probably a month ago. Her 4 kids have been drinking the water too, but we still have to pay for that water and we can't even use it. Now that's ridiculous. They knew that it was higher than Flint in 2018. Could the city tell people, make sure that everyone knows? Maybe we get around to it. It's only their kids' brains. It's only, persistent health problems for their whole life. We're not gonna fix it. We're not even gonna make sure that every individual knows about it. That is insanity, and that's America. If you're watching this internationally, what do you think about our country when you hear news like this? That we find out about this stuff and we just let it happen. It is amazing how we betray our people.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, and by the way, one last graphic. This is another example of just what America is. Benton Harbor, this is the city we're talking about, is 85% black. The neighboring city, St. Joseph, is about 85% white. In Benton Harbor, more than 45% of residents live below the poverty line. In St. Joseph, the poverty rate is about 7%, well below the state average. And while Benton Harbor has struggled for years with lead-contaminated water, those problems have not appeared to plague its neighbor. It's weird, no one will ever figure out why. But for some reason, they've been able to fix the pipes in St. Joseph, and they just haven't prioritized doing it in Benton Harbor. Any ideas why, Nina?
And repeat this over and over again. This is not an anomaly as much as I wish that it was, and I know you do too, John. This is America. Welcome to America, where race infuses almost every single thing. And where there is an injustice, 9 times out of 10, there is some type of race or ethnicity linked to it, that those people are black or brown, and they are especially poor, no matter how they identify racially or ethnically. This is America. This is what America does.
100%. Okay, we got one more story for you. We're gonna do that in just one sec. I want to read a couple of your messages. Arthur Ashbrook says, "Yeah, I don't know why does he have to take his shirt off?" No, there's just like, first of all, he was putting on a display. He didn't really want to fight the guy. I think he just wanted to get him to go away, and so you take off your shirt to do that. But everybody knows, I think, the one guy who is always ready to take his shirt off. I knew a guy freshman year of college. He could not leave his shirt on if it was 80 degrees. He'd find some reason to whip it off, and not for a fight. Just for walking across campus. Anyway, good guy though.
Effect. I mean, it was for effect. It just would not have had the same effect.
Yeah.
Without taking off the shirt.
If he'd had a peacock's tail, he would have displayed the eyes. Instead, he took his shirt off.
He had to do it. He had left him no other choice. Male Karen left him no other choice but to take that shirt off. He had
Wizard of Frobot says his beef is with his neighbor, not the hired dude. Yeah, but it's a lot easier to attack the hired dude, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, and Stephen Scales says, I have a general rule: do not engage in conflict until I've considered and accepted all consequences that may follow. The guy that we in the video might start to have that rule. He hadn't apparently been checked before. He was in the find out phase of that classic duology. Anyway, okay, with that, we're gonna get into a little bit more fun, maybe? Okay, let's talk about it. The comic books world, but more so the right-wing media world, was thrown into an uproar over news that Screen Rant released yesterday, saying DC has confirmed that John Kent, Earth's new Superman and the son of Clark Kent and Lois Lane, is bisexual, as advance art of Superman, son of Kal-El, sees him share a kiss with new love interest Jay Nakamura. Okay, so the new Superman, who is the son of Clark Kent, is bisexual, and so the world exploded. I don't mean in the comic world, I mean in our media. Right wingers lost it. We're gonna have a couple examples for you. Let's start off with a bit from Fox.
Superman, bisexual DC comic book toy that was announced today. Finally, a place nowhere to go.
Well, that comes after a gay Aquaman, a bisexual boy Wonder Robin, and a gender fluid Loki. Call me when they have a gender stable aisle with superheroes whose sexualities we know nothing about. Why are they sexualizing superheroes? You know, I was a Batman and a Superman, Spider-Man kid. I loved those heroes. We just wanted them to get the bad guys, not a venereal disease. Anyway.
I'm not entirely sure why now they're more prone to venereal diseases than when we knew nothing about their sexuality, which he means be straight. That's what he means. It's not about not knowing. Clark Kent couldn't go 5 minutes without kissing Lois Lane. It's not that we didn't know, it's that he knew and he liked it. It supported what he thought. But anyway, he's worked up. You got Josh Mandel. This is a candidate for senator, tweeting bisexual comic books for kids. They are literally trying to destroy America. I think it was actually foretold in Revelation that once DC goes gay, that's America for you. Wendy Rogers, a state senator in Arizona, tweeted, Superman loves Lois Lane. That's an interesting typo there, but anyway, period. Hollywood is trying to make Superman gay and he's not. Just rename, and I swear to God it says this, the new version, Superman. She's mimicking a written lisp to mock bisexual people, I suppose. I don't know, but she's a state senator. Good job, Arizona. And let's see, Newsmax, their main guy, I think he's a third tier clone of Sean Hannity, was all worked up about Superman being bisexual. Of course, it's not the character he's showing there, it's a new character. But anyway, they're very frustrated about this, Nina Turner. What do you think?
Get a grip. And Josh Mandel is from my home state. God bless America. You know, what's destroying America is that dirty water we were just talking about. John, destroying America is people being food insecure. What's destroying America is folks not having a living wage. What is destroying America is people not being able to live in dignity. So if you got the luxury to worry about the sexuality of a new character, you got a lot of privilege.
Yeah.
Superman. Sexuality to Superman, and let's go on and tackle the other issues in this country. Exactly. That's not an issue. Let me be clear. That's not an issue. Let's tackle what 100%. Is holding people back in this country.
By the way, and to the extent that it conceivably could be an issue, the issue is that now some people might see something like themselves in comics, and that's not a disaster.
How about that? And parents control what their children see. So for them to use this thing about parents, it's just an exaggeration here.
Exactly. Yeah, you like Linda Carter, who played Wonder Woman. She talks about how queer kids have always reached out to her saying that they saw something in Wonder Woman. That's great, and they get that. Whoever the hell that was in the Fox video, he said he grew up reading Superman and all that. So you like seeing someone like yourself in a heroic position. You like that. Why wouldn't you want that for other people?
We all like seeing somebody like ourselves, you know?
Exactly. Nothing wrong with that. God, they're freaking out though. Anyway, Nina Turner, thank you for joining us. Also humoring us on some of the news that I choose. I always appreciate it. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
And I appreciate you too.
Thank you. Everyone, check out Power Hour on Thursday. Also, excerpts in a podcast every Monday. You can subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, all those normal places. Definitely go take a look at that. And thank you for watching, everyone. I'm gonna be here tomorrow for JR Wednesdays, Big News Wednesdays also. So stay tuned for that. But until then, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.